of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. Chapter 6. Gilderoy Lockhart. The next day, however, Harry barely grinned once. Things started to go downhill from breakfast in the great hall. The 4 long house tables were landed in the turnings of porridge, plates of kippers, mountains of toast, and dishes of eggs and bacon. Beneath an enchanted ceiling today a dull, clouded grey. Harry and Ron sat down at the Gryffindor table next to Hermione, who had her copy of Voyage with Vampires propped open against a milk jug. There was some slight stiffness in the way she said morning, which told Harry that she was still disapproving of the way they had arrived. Neville Longbottom, on the other hand, greeted them cheerfully. Neville was a round-faced and accident-prone boy with the worst memory of anyone Harry had ever met. Posts due any minute. I think Grant's sending on a few things I forgot. Harry had only just started his porridge then. Sure enough, she was a ravish sound of overhead, and hundreds or so owls streamed in, circling in the hall, dropping letters and packages into the chattering crowd. A big lumpy parcel bounced off Neville's hat, and a second later, something large and grey fell into Hermione's pug, spraying them all with milk and feathers. "Avril!" said Ron, hurrying the badgered owl out by the feet. Avril jumped, unconscious, onto the table, his legs in the air, and damp red envelope on his knee. "Oh no!" Ron gasped. "It's all right, he's still alive," said Hermione, prodding Avril gently with the tip of her finger. "It's not that! It's that! It's not that, it's that!" Ron was pointed at the red envelope. It looked quite ordinary to Harry, but Ron and Neville were both looking at it as though they expected it to explode. "What's the matter?" said Harry. She sent me a howler," said Ron faintly. "You'd better open it, Ron," said Neville in a timid whisper. "It'd be worse if you don't. My Gran sent me one once, and I ignored it, and," he gulped, "it was horrible." Harry looked from the petrified faces to the red envelope. "What a howler!" But Ron's full attention was fixed on the letter, which had begun to smoke in the corners. "Open it," Neville urged. "It will be over in a few minutes." Ron stretched out a shaking hand, and he seized the envelope from Eller's beak and slid it open. Neville stirred his fingers in his ears. A split second later, Harry knew why. He thought of the moment it had exploded. A roar of sounds filled the huge hall, shaking dust from the ceiling. "Stealing the car? I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd expelled you. You wait till I get hold of you. I don't suppose you stopped to think that your father and I went with he when we said it was gone." Mrs. Weasley yells, 100 times longer than usual, made the plates and spoons rattle on the table, and he echoed defiantly off the stone walls. People gobbled the hall, shivering around to see who had received the howler, and Ron sank so low in his chair that only his crimson forehead could be seen. "Letter from Dumbledore last night. Of course your father would die of shame. Wouldn't it bring you up to behave like this? You and Harry could both have died." Harry had been wondering when his name was going to crop up. He tried very hard to look as though he couldn't hear the voice that was making his ears stop. "Absolutely disgusted! Your father's facing an injury at work. It's entirely your fault, and if you put another 2 out of line, we'll bring you straight back home." Having a silence now. The red envelope, which was dropped from the round hand, burst into flames and curled into ashes. Harry and Ron had stunned, as though a tidal wave had just passed over them. A few people laughed, then gradually a babble of talk broke out together. Hermione closed Voyage with Vampires and looked down at the top of Ron's hat. "Well, I don't know what you expected, Ron, but you..." "Don't tell me I deserved it," snapped Ron. Harry pushed his porridge away. His insides were burning with guilt. Mr. Weasley was facing an injury at work. After all, Mr. and Mrs. Weasley had done for him over the summer. But he had no time to dwell on his. Professor McGonagall was moving along the Gryffindor table, hanging out timetables. Harry took his and said that they had double herbology with the Hufflepuffs first. Harry and Hermione left the castle together. together, crossed the vegetable patch and made for the greenhouses, waiting with the magical glances were kept. At least the howler had one for good thing. Hermione seemed to think they had now been punished enough and was being perfectly friendly again. As they neared the greenhouse, they saw the rest of the class standing outside, waiting for Professor Sprout. Harry, Ron, and Hermione had only just joined them, and then she came strolling into view across the lawn, accompanied by Gilderoy and Lockhart. Professor Sprout's arms were full of bandage, and with another twinkle of guilt, Harry spotted the whooping willow in the distance, several of its branches now in flings. Professor Sprout was a squirrel's little witch who wore a patched hat over a flyaway hat. There was a usually large amount of earth on her clothes, and her fingernails were tucked between her feet. Gilderoy Lockhart, however, was emasculate in sweeping robes of turquoise, his golden hair shining under a perfectly poised turquoise hat with gold trimming. "Oh, hello there," Lockhart called, beaming around as they assembled students. "Just make sure Professor Sprout the right way to Dr. Whooping Willow. But I don't want you running away with the idea that I'm better at herbology than she is. I just happen to have met several of these exotic plants on my travels." "Greenhouse 3 today, chaps," said Professor Sprout, who was looking distinctly disgruntled, not as her usual cheerful self. There was a murmur of interest. They had only ever worked in Greenhouse 1 before. Greenhouse 3 housed far more interesting and dangerous plants. Professor Sprout took a large key from her belt and unlocked the door. Harry caught a whiff of damp earth and pepper dangling with a heavy perfume of giant umbrella-sized flowers dangling from the ceiling. He was about to follow Ron and Hermione inside when Lockhart's hand shut out. "Harry, I've been waiting. What? You don't mind if I'm just a couple of minutes late, do you, Professor Sprout?" Whenever Professor Sprout scowled, she did mind, but Lockhart said, "That's the ticket," and closed the greenhouse door in her face. "Harry," said Lockhart, his large white teeth gleaming in the sunlight as they shook Harry. "Harry, Harry, Harry!" Completely nonplussed, Harry said nothing. "What I heard, well, of course it was all my fault. Could have kicked myself." Harry had no idea what he was talking about. He was about to say, so... "Don't want to have been more shocked flying a car to Hogwarts? Well, of course, I knew it once when you'd done it. Stood out a mile. Harry, Harry, Harry!" It was remarkable how he could show every one of those brilliant teeth that he was talking. "Gave you a test of publicity, didn't I?" said Ron. "Have you the book? You got onto the front page of the paper with me and you couldn't wait to do it again." "Oh no, Professor. See, Harry, Harry, Harry," said Lockhart, reaching out and grasping his shoulder. "I understand. Natural to want to make more once you had the first taste. And I must have forgiven you that because it was bound to go to your head. But see here, young man, you can't send flying cars to try and get yourself noticed. Just calm down, all right? Plenty of time for all when you're older. Yes, yes, I don't know what you're thinking. It's all right for him. He's an internationally famous wizard already. And when I was 12, I was just a merch of nobody as you are now. In fact, I'd say I was being more of a nobody. I mean, a few people have heard of you, haven't they? All the business with him who must be not named." He glanced at the lightning scout Harry's forehead. "I don't know. It's not quite as good as winning Witch Weekly's most charming smile award 4 times in a row, as they have. But it's a start, Harry. It's a start." He gave Harry a hearty wink and strode off. Harry stood stunned for a few seconds. Then, remembering he was supposed to be in the greenhouse, he opened the door and slid inside. Professor Sprout was standing behind a trestle bench in the center of the greenhouse. About 20 pairs of different color earmuffs were lining on the bench. When Harry had taken his place between Ron and Hermione, he said, "We'll be reporting mandrakes today now. Who can tell the properties of the mandrake?" To nobody's surprise, Hermione's head was whisked into the air. "Mandrake or mandragora is a powerful result-area," said Hermione, sounding as usual as though she had swallowed the textbook. "It is used to return people who have been transfigured and cursed to their original state." "Excellent. 10 points to Gryffindor," said Professor Sprout. The mandrake forms an essential part of most antidotes. It is also, however, dangerous. Who can tell me why? Hermione's hand narrowly missed Harry's glasses as it shot up again. The core of the mandrake is fatal to anyone who hears it, she said promptly.